right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're gonna talk about what one of my sources said Keith Thurman believes about Terence Crawford and the Errol Spence Jr. fight, and that is that fight ain't happening because Terence Crawford is tailor-made for Keith Thurman. Let's talk about that in this video. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, man, we're going to talk about something that I was told that Keith Thurman believed about Terence Crawford and about the Errol Spence Jr. fight, and it jives with everything that I've heard him say publicly. But man, I'm telling you, I like Keith Thurman, man, and I'm really hoping that this dude does well and can come all the way back to the top of the welterweight division. Before I get into and discuss specifically what I'm talking about, please make sure to support my sponsor, busr.ag/Fanon. When you use the promotional code Fanon, you will be able to get special values, perks, and benefits for using that promotional code. So if you are somebody that bets on boxing, basketball, baseball, whatever, please make sure you give those guys a shot, check them out, and see what type of rewards and benefits you can get. Also, hit the like button, all of that. All right, so this is what I've been told. Keith Thurman, who is definitely coming back. This has been announced, right? And most of this stuff is public information. Keith Thurman is going to be coming back to boxing against Mario Barrios and is headlining a pay-per-view card I do believe, I can't remember what the date of it is, but it's either in the first quarter, late first quarter, somewhere in the time frame. He'll be fighting against, I believe it's in early February, late January, early February, something like that. He'll be fighting Mario Barrios, and then after that, there is a good likelihood that he will be fighting Terence Crawford after that. Terence Crawford, if you recall, has talked about who he wants to fight. Now, Terence Crawford, from my understanding, his number one, so y'all Terence Crawford fans don't call me a hater, his number one guy that he wants to fight is Errol Spence Jr., but in the same breath, he mentions Keith one-time Thurman. He said that he believed Keith Thurman was a big fight, one of the big fights that are out there. Keith Thurman had responded to him and said, yeah, he would be open to that fight. He just said that Keith Thurman needed about 8 months to train for it, make sure that he gets all the way back in shape for a fight with Terence Crawford, right? So what my guy is telling me is that behind the scenes, excuse me, man, my phone is doing this in the middle of making videos, that Keith Thurman really does believe that fight with Terence Crawford, that Terence Crawford is somebody that is tailor-made for him to fight and for him to upset, and that he really truly believes that he may very well to be able to get a knockout against Terence Crawford. And the reason that this is because Keith Thurman has said this much in public, that these guys are fighting guys that he's already beaten, right? He says the same. He says about Errol Spence Jr., right? That Errol Spence Jr. beat Danny Garcia. He beat Sean Porter. He didn't beat, and so, all he did is beat guys that Keith Thurman has already beaten, and that Keith believes that as long as his hand is all the way together, specifically his left hand is all the way together and totally healed, and he's able to follow up his jab and straight right hand with the left hook, as long as he can follow up his right hand with a left hook and use that with confidence and not feel like he's got to pull punches and try to make it 12 rounds, that he believes he can stop both Errol Spence Jr. and stop Terence Crawford, but specifically Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford is somebody that is more chinny and has shown that he has the ability to be wobbled, and he is somebody that will be able to be hit in exchanges, right? Now, my take on that is, man, look, if Keith Thurman was, and I understand why Keith Thurman would think very highly of himself, right? Keith Thurman has lost one fight, and a lot of people are really brushing off Keith Thurman and treating Keith Thurman as if he doesn't have any chance against these guys in the top of the division, that he's not, a serious contender or anything like that, that he's just somebody, once upon a time, Thurman and all of that, right? But overlook the fact that he has only had one loss. And the only guy to beat him was Manny Pacquiao. And honestly, Manny Pacquiao did not beat him going away. Manny Pacquiao won that fight because early in the fight, Manny Pacquiao got a knockdown. And at one point in time, I really will say this, he really did look like he hurt Keith Thurman with a body shot. But other than that, man, it was a very, very close fight. And one, I believe that if Keith Thurman was all the way in shape, and what he said was if he was really able to use his left hand, what he would have been able to beat, he would have been able to really land something of significance on Manny Pacquiao that would have probably prevented that body shot from ever happening, right? And also, he said, when you're out, you set out 2 years. And, over time, man, he probably didn't have enough time to train to really get back and be at the top for Manny Pacquiao. But he believes that in 8 months, he'll be able to do that, for Terence Crawford. My take on the matter is that, that is going to take some real commitment out of Keith Thurman. The videos that I've seen from Keith Thurman right now, and I don't even know if Keith Thurman is actually officially in training camp or not. And I think that fight must be towards early March or February, because he's going to need a full 8-week, 12-week training camp, even for a guy like Mario Barrios. But as long as he is able, if it's going to take him getting in tip-top shape, his body for those body shots, being able to really take a body shot for that to be the case. But with Terence Crawford, I don't think you got to really worry as much about body shots as you do with somebody like, maybe like a Josecito Lopez, somebody that is really trying to grind you down to the body, even though Terence definitely did show that he can hurt you to the body, when he fought Sean Porter and he really couldn't get a clean headshot off. He wound up hitting him in the heart with some nasty hooks to the chest. But as far as like the rib cage and all that, you really don't see a lot of Terence Crawford really trying to dig to the kidney and all of that stuff. And if you look at the fight with Keith Thurman, and if Keith Thurman fights on the back foot, and he's in tip-top shape, and he actually may be able to win rounds against Terence Crawford. Now, as far as the knockout, I'm telling you, I think that Terence Crawford having a bad chin is one of the more overrated things that said about him. I know I have definitely seen him wobbled. He got wobbled against Egis Kalvanakis, and some people say his hand hit the ground. That should have been a knockdown. And also, he got hit by Urielkis Gamboa and wobbled against Urielkis Gamboa. But primarily when that stuff happens is when Terence Crawford is getting overly excited and is willing to exchange with somebody. If Keith Thurman has his power all the way back, and I do believe, if as long as he can really hit him and his hands aren't hurt, Keith Thurman has definitely got enough power to keep the attention and keep the respect to Terence Crawford, which I believe will probably keep Terence Crawford from getting into those type of circumstances, right? But I don't mind that if that fight actually happens, and I think it'd be a good fight. And I do like, though, that at least Keith Thurman is getting the Mario Barrios fight in there first, and that he's not going to just go into the Terence Crawford fight. As long as he has what I believe a quick turnaround, I think he'll be in good shape for the fight. But, I'm going to take Terence Crawford in that fight, obviously. But I will say that he does kind of fall into the line of the fighters that Terence Crawford has been fighting, like the Kell Brooks, Amir Khan, Sean Porter, right? Guys that have come off recent losses and may not be all the way at their top. But Keith Thurman, when he was at his top, is probably better than Kell Brook, I proved that he's better than Sean Porter, right? And may actually be able to give him a fight. But anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.